The first scene is set at two friends, Sarah and Linda, going through a box of Sarah's late mother's possessions. They discover a Polaroid camera and a photo of her mother, probably shot with the same camera. Sarah decides to take a picture of herself in lingerie with this camera for her boyfriend. However, when the flash goes off, she feels somewhat uneasy. While they are leaving the photo to develop, Linda gets a call and she leaves the photo. Alone, Sarah goes to shut the front door when she hears noises from upstairs, as if someone is using the camera. Upon heading to the room, she finds that the photo has been developed. However, to her dismay, she sees a dark figure in the background. When the lights begin to flicker and noises can be heard from another room, her fear grows. As Sarah anxiously walks through the hallway, a ball bounces down from the attic. She is terrified, but climbs up to the attic, but the ladder slips to the ground and she has no safe way to get back down. A confused Sarah then scans the area to find out what's going on. However, a non-human hand suddenly startles her and she falls and hangs up. Then Sarah is grabbed up again and murdered, and her body is tossed down. In the next scene, we are introduced to a shy girl, Bird Fitcher, who is preparing for picture day at school. She always wears a scarf to cover a scar on her neck, which is why her peers call her the Scarf Girl. Bird is leaving the school after school when she spots her crush, Connor, with his friends. She snaps his picture with her camera, but he catches her. Flustered, she quickly gathers her things and leaves for work at an antique shop. There, she's approached by her coworker, Tyler, who surprises her with a rare 70s Polaroid camera he found at a garage sale, which has the letters RJS engraved in it. Eager to test it out, Bird clicks Tyler's picture. While waiting for the photo to be developed, Tyler leans for a kiss, but Bird is uncomfortable and walks away, leaving the camera case behind. Upon arriving home, Bird attempts to take some pictures of her dog with her new camera, but it strangely growls and backs away. Just before she can snap the picture, her best friend Casey shows up. She invites Bird to attend a costume party, saying that it will be a good chance to meet friends and maybe even Connor. Bird is initially reluctant, but relents when she hears her crush's name. Soon after, they are rescued by their friends, Mina and Devin, a couple with a little love/hate going on. As Bird and Tyler playfully chat in the car, she pulls out Tyler's picture from earlier and sees a dark shadow in the background. She attempts to rub it off, but it doesn't come out. However, she doesn't pay much attention and sets it back. On the other hand, Tyler is preparing to close the shop when he spots a bunch of old pictures in a box. He places them on the projector and starts to scroll. In this, he sees a dark figure that walks from one picture to another. Suspecting that there's someone behind the curtain, he swings a hammer towards the shadow but doesn't hit anything. He then goes to examine the projector and the curtain transforms into a figure that rushes towards Tyler, seemingly killing him. Bird and her friends are welcomed by the party host, Avery, at the party venue. Bird appears to be uncomfortable and stands alone in a corner. Soon she sees a guy in a skeleton mask staring at her. She tries to evade him, but the man walks right in front of her and reveals himself to be Connor. It's a great relief for Bird, and they start conversing. Shortly after, they are disturbed by Mina and Devin, who ask Connor to join them for a group photo. Then Bird offers to take their picture with her Polaroid camera. However, Casey suddenly appears out of nowhere and photobombs. Again, Connor is shadowed by the dark shadow. Then Avery appears and takes Bird's camera to take a selfie. However, before the photo can develop, the police come in to search for Bird. Then, Bird goes to the police station where Sheriff Pembroke tells Bird the shocking news of Tyler's death. He asks her to contact him if she gets any information about the incident. They speak, and he realizes that she is the last name of a woman he knows, and remembers an accident she survived as a child. This is why she has scars on her neck. That night, Bird reviews the pictures she took from her Polaroid camera. Much to her surprise, she realizes that the mysterious shadow has disappeared from Tyler's photo and has now appeared in Avery's. As Avery is cleaning up after the party, she hears footsteps from upstairs. She cautiously heads to investigate, only to encounter a creepy figure lurking in the darkness. Terrified, she runs towards the front door but accidentally hits her head on a lamp, causing her to fall. Despite this, she tries to crawl away, but the ghostly entity catches up to her and fatally snaps her neck. The next day, Bird gets a call from Casey telling her that Avery has died. She is shocked by the news and heads to the photos only to find that the shadow has vanished from Avery's photo and is now in the group photo. Bird attempts to break the camera, but is knocked down by a shock wave it emits. Later at school, Bird sits down with Mina, Devin, Casey, and Connor, all struggling to come to terms with the recent tragedies. In this, she reveals her theory that Avery's death was not a coincidence, and how the shadow transferred from one picture to another following each death. She tells them that people who are taken pictures by this Polaroid camera die. Unfortunately, no one listens to her and Devin even burns the group photo. This is surprisingly enough what makes Mina's hand burn in reality, and Casey feels pain in her fingers. However, before anyone is burned to death, Bird stomps on the picture, putting out the fire. The burnt photograph is then restored. Afterwards, Mina is rushed to the hospital where she is operated on for her arm. While the friends are waiting outside, they talk about the origin of the camera. The camera case is still at the antique shop, so Bird and Connor go to get it. But when they reach the shop, Bird opts to go alone, saying that she's safe because she is not in the photo. As Connor waits in the car, he looks at the group picture and suddenly hears the camera clicking. The ghostly figure emerges inside, where Bird gets the case. She is horrified and runs towards the exit, but her scarf gets caught on a nail, choking her. It appears that she's going to meet her demise as well, but Connor arrives in the nick of time and saves her. Later, on their way back, Bird wonders why the entity came after her, to which Connor reveals that she's also in the picture. It seems her reflection can be seen in the background of the photo. When Mina awakens from surgery at the hospital, she finds Devin at her bedside. He has a quick conversation and then goes outside to call a nurse. Meanwhile, Mina is called by Bird to not be alone. Panicked, she tries to leave her bed, but the entity suddenly attacks her. When Devin comes back, the room is empty, and there is a small blood trail on the floor. He walks down the path and finds Mina's corpse behind a curtain. When Bird and Connor arrive at the hospital, they see Devin talking to the cops. After everyone has left, he goes to Bird and angrily accuses her of being responsible for everything. He talks so rudely with her that she ends up running away, crying. Connor then follows her, and they sit in a hallway and talk. While they are talking, Bird explains to him about her father, a reporter. One night, he wanted to show her one of his projects, but she declined as she wanted to go for a sleepover at her friend's house. This prompted Dad to turn around his car to return home, but he unfortunately got into a fatal accident. Upon hearing this, Connor offers her comfort, assuring her that the accident wasn't her fault. The two then inspect the camera case and discover a locker tag inside. They are curious and go to the library to find out what the date means. After going through several old articles, they discover that the camera was owned by a photography teacher, Roland Joseph Sable, from their school. He was charged with torturing 4 students and killing 3 of them while taking maniacal photos. One of the captives escaped, after which Roland was shot by the police. Later in the evening, the friends meet at a restaurant to talk about what to do next. Amidst this, Bird tells them that when the entity was coming after her, it came near some hot thing and reacted to it. Then she tells them that when she is creating the photos, heat and light can ruin the photos. So she imagines that this thing could act like a developing photograph and therefore only exist in the dark. In addition, she also shows a photo of the old house where Roland lived, indicating that someone in his family might still be living there and have information. Casey goes through the web and finds out that the house was purchased by an individual named N. Faraday. As they talk, Devin becomes frustrated with Mina's fate and clicks on Bird's picture to find out how it works. But Connor doesn't want it and a fight ensues for the camera. In the process, a photo is accidentally snapped, so the group anxiously waits for the picture to develop. The shadow then falls on Devin, who is seen in the photo shortly after, suggesting that he is the next victim. Fearful for his life, Devin tries to use the camera on one of his friends. Casey tries to prevent him by stabbing the photo of Devin with a pencil, but it has a real-time effect and he drops the camera. This enrages Devin and he tries to attack the friends. But Sheriff Pembroke shows up at the right time and arrests him. Later on, Bird and Connor attempt to explain to the sheriff about the danger lurking around Devin due to the Polaroid camera. Bird also brings evidence about Roland, but the officer is not affected by it and cautions them to not pursue the matter of Roland. Bird talks to Devin before he leaves, and he apologizes for his previous misbehavior. He also says that his death might give them time to halt the entity. On the way back from jail, Bird gets a call from Casey saying that and didn't really buy the house. It was Lena Sable, Roland's wife, who did. Undeterred by Pembroke's warning, Bird and Connor go to visit Lena to find out the truth. The lights turn off at the police station, and the ghostly figure attacks Devin in his cell, killing him. Connor and Bird go to Lena's house, but she doesn't want to talk to them at first. However, upon hearing the word camera, she shows them a camera with the initials RJS, which is their daughter Rebecca James Sable's. Lena then guides them to her room where she tells them her story. Rebecca was bullied at school and would often go off by herself. The camera that they gave her was her comfort, and she took it with her wherever she went. However, one day, her 4 friends tricked her into going with them. They used the camera to take inappropriate pictures of her and shared them throughout the school, embarrassing her. Rebecca was filled with shame and she did the unthinkable. After this tragedy, Roland found the pictures and promised to take revenge on his daughter. He took the bullies' photos in a dark room of the school and began to kill them. The police soon arrived and they shot Roland, who was holding the camera. One of the 4 children managed to escape. Lena shows them his picture. As she is telling her tale, the lights in the room start to flicker. This prompts Connor to check the photographs and he sees that the shadow has moved back to the group photo. They realize that something is wrong, and they all run away and go to school, calling Casey along the way. When they arrive, they look through the archive drawers for old yearbooks and finally find the picture of the survivor Lena that she had shown them earlier. Much to their shock, the survivor is none other than Pembroke. The sheriff shows up with Casey in handcuffs, accusing them of infiltrating the school. Connor tries to prevent the entity from killing them and takes a picture of Pembroke, who throws the camera to the ground. After that, Pembroke shows Lena that her story was false and that the inappropriate photos were actually taken by Roland. He says that he and his 3 friends were going to help her by showing the photos to the police because she was being physically abused by Roland. But Roland heard their plan and kidnapped them. As Pembroke finishes his explanation, the entity shows up behind him. The sheriff opens fire, but the bullets don't affect it. It splits Pembroke's photo in half, ripping him in half. The entity then attacks Casey, injuring her leg. Connor at this moment takes the sheriff's gun and shoots at the entity, distracting it. The girls hide in the bathroom and turn on the hot water to protect themselves. Sometime later, Bird walks out to find Connor, who soon grabs her arm and pulls her into a room. Then Bird has an idea: to get the camera back and take them somewhere where Roland can grow. The moment they get the camera, the entity takes Connor away. To save him, Bird hurriedly takes a selfie with the camera, drawing its attention towards her. She then leads the entity to the dark room in the basement. The entity then seizes her by the neck and starts choking her. In a hasty move, Bird takes a picture of the entity with the camera, accidentally capturing her fingers. Despite this, she crumples the photo, causing both the creature and her hand to disintegrate. If that isn't enough, she places the picture on fire and it's finally destroyed. After that, she meets up with Connor and Casey, who then hug each other in relief. Finally, Bird throws the camera into the sea, making sure that the cycle of events will not happen again. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.